I just don't think we've seen anything in terms of real institutional money coming into this asset class at this point. And I think that's really the place you're going to see most of the funds come in over the next 3 years. And I do expect we're going to see literally hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars coming in over the next 5 years, or the next three years even, maybe $1 trillion come into this asset. So I'm extremely bullish for Bitcoin. The ETFs are really the big deal, not sovereign wealth funds, not corporate treasuries, and not closed-end funds like MSTR.
The cryptocurrency market is expected to see considerable volatility in the next few years. The crypto cycle, affected by factors including adoption, regulation, and market mood, is likely to fluctuate. Some experts anticipate a probable bear market, with values falling by 50% or more, while others envision a supercycle, with prices reaching new highs. Meanwhile, experts like Fred Krueger predict Bitcoin's price to follow the power law, implying exponential growth over time. Institutional investment and expanding acceptance are fueling demand for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, resulting in increased volatility and possible price fluctuations. Altcoins' prices may fluctuate significantly, potentially beating Bitcoin in certain periods. Meanwhile, the growing relevance of decentralized finance, DeFi, and non-fungible tokens, NFTs, will create new opportunities and threats in the market. Fred, in a video posted on his YouTube channel, predicts that the power law, which governs Bitcoin's price growth, will remain intact. This prediction is supported by historical data, which shows that Bitcoin's price has followed a logarithmic growth curve. His analysis suggests that Bitcoin's price will continue to grow exponentially, with the potential to reach $500,000 in the next 4 years. Additionally, Fred believes that MicroStrategy's Bitcoin buying spree will slow down, reaching a total of around 500,000 Bitcoin, as the company faces limitations in the convertible debt market. Watch clips from the interview to hear more about Fred Krueger's bold predictions and insights for the next cycle. Don't miss out on future exclusive content, like subscribe to our channel and enable post notifications. Enjoy the video.
I'm going to knock off my top 5 predictions for the upcoming cycle. So the first prediction, and I know a lot of people are upset about it, it really is that the power law is not going to break. Now, why am I so completely convinced about that? I think, it's very simple. First of all, if you look at the power law just in and of itself, you can easily think that it's wobbly and everything is going to change with the ETFs or sovereign adoption or Bitcoin strategic reserve, but I don't think so. I think it is not likely to change, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on that. This is here the 4-year average of the log price. Okay, so what did I do to get this? I took the Bitcoin price, I converted it into a log price, and then I averaged that log over the last 4 years. And you can see, and so this is the log of time here, and this is the log of Bitcoin price. Now, if you go to 5, that's $100,000 a Bitcoin, 10 to the power 5. 6 is a million, and we have seen that this smoothed out average log BTC price is a straight line. And, the next 4 years, it's going to depend, the first part's going to depend on, these prices here because you're going to be averaging some of these. But where it's going to end up is going to be completely independent of any of this data. So if we go to 10 to the power 1.3, and that number is 19.9. So let's call it 20 years. That is 2029. We see that we're going to get, about it's about 500K. All right, a little bit under 500K. It really doesn't seem like this path is going to do anything then continue. So that's my first real post. is that the power law is probably not going to change, right? That's the first thing I was going to say. The second thing I have to say is about hold on a second. The second thing I will say is that MSTR is going to stop. They're really going to tap out in the next 4 years at about 500,000 Bitcoin. They're not going to get to 1 million Bitcoin. And I think this is important. I think MSTR has talked about deploying 42 billion. They're going to deploy that 42 billion over 2025, and they're going to continue. But let's just say they deploy 100 billion. They're not going to be able to buy 300,000 Bitcoin with that 100 billion, right? They just won't be able to do that. Unfortunately, the math does not look really great for MSTR. They already have a valuation that is in excess of the current market valuation of the Satoshi stack, which is 1 million Bitcoin. They're currently valued as if they had 1.2 million Bitcoin in their treasury. They don't. They have 350,000 Bitcoin. So I don't think they're going to be able to buy the next 300,000 Bitcoin for 100 billion. I don't. And I think that in general their strategy of tapping the convertible debt market, you're hitting the limits of that market. That is a $300 billion a year market. They can only do so much in that market. They can't take 200 billion of that $300 billion market. There's simply not going to be enough buyers of this. So as I believe that they are going to slow down.
Fred predicts a 50% bear market over the next 3 years, which is rather modest compared to previous cycles. He predicts the bear market will reduce MicroStrategy's multiple to 1. Krueger also expects lending to become a substantial sector, allowing Bitcoin holders to cash in on their gains without selling their assets. According to industry experts, Bitcoin's expanding usage and more institutional investment will stimulate demand for lending services. Furthermore, market trends indicate that lending will play an important part in the Bitcoin business, with many platforms currently looking at lending options. Let's go back to the video and watch more clips to gain insights from DotKrueger.
The third prediction is I think there's going to be a bear market of something like 50% sometime in the next 3 years. Now, for those of us who've been around and who've been through some of these cycles, 50% is nothing, right? We've seen 75, 80% bear markets. I think this one will be less. I think it'll be probably something more like 50%. But I do think we're going to drop 50% from whatever high we make in the next 3 years. I also don't think this is going to happen in 2026. I think it could happen in 2027, 2028. I sort of believe that there's going to be some form of a super cycle. I don't think that the next cycle is going to be dictated by a mining halving related timeline. And I think the net of this is the power law is going to be respected. And if and when we get this bear market, I do believe that MSTR will crash a lot more than Bitcoin. So I do believe MSTR is going to go down much more than 50%. And I think it's going to revert to a multiple of 1 or even lower. I think it could trade at a discount to fair market value. Now, some of the MSTR fanboys are going to say, well, at that point, they can buy back MSTR. They can do all these things, but we'll see when that happens. Look at Bitwise, BITW. I own that fund. I bought it at about a negative 25% discount. Now it's at a 15% discount, and that fund owns 75% of that fund is in Bitcoin. 10% or 15% is in Ethereum, and then they have a little bit of Solana and a few other coins. But, it nevertheless remains at a discount. And, you can say they don't have an operating company, but I would argue that neither does MSTR. So I think MSTR is overvalued, and I do think that in the next bear market. Whenever that comes, it will contract down substantially. My fourth prediction is that the real engines of growth are going to be IBIT and FBTC. So I think that, the process of having institutional investors and mainly advisors managed accounts are going to be the next big block of buyers. Now, if you look at the overall kind of way wealth is set up, you have about 1/3 is sort of self-directed, people just going to their brokerage accounts and making their own investment decisions. 1/3 of the wealth is in managed accounts where people are managing these investment decisions for other people. And I've mentioned that my mother has a managed account at Morgan Stanley, for example. And, a lot of this managed money, almost none of it has really hit the market yet. And the third part is institutional, pension funds, retirement accounts and stuff. So, I just don't think we've seen anything in terms of real institutional money coming into this asset class at this point. And I think that's really the place you're going to see most of the funds come in over the next 3 years. And I do expect we're going to see literally hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars coming in over the next 5 years, or the next three years even, maybe $1 trillion come into this asset. So I'm extremely bullish for Bitcoin, but I definitely think, and I go back to my original premise that I made when I first started talking on Twitter, which I think that the ETFs are really the big deal, not sovereign wealth funds, not corporate treasuries, and not closed-end funds like MSTR. And my fifth prediction is that lending is going to become a significant business, right? So a lot of people, a lot of Bitcoiners are now sitting on pretty big gains in Bitcoin, and they would like to tap some of those gains without selling their Bitcoin, without selling their ETFs.
Bitcoin has repeatedly defied predictions of its doom, with mainstream media outlets proclaiming it dead over 400 times in the last 14 years. Despite these pessimistic predictions, Bitcoin has mounted an impressive recovery, with its value increasing steadily over time. For example, a $100 investment in Bitcoin when it was declared dead in October 2010 would now be worth more than $101 million. Bitcoin's recent price changes demonstrate the currency's resilience. After being declared dead several times, Bitcoin has battled its way back to near six-figure prices. As of late November, Bitcoin had recovered 5.9% and surpassed $97,500. This upward momentum has led some analysts to anticipate that Bitcoin will hit $100,000 over the next few months. The expanding global money supply is also likely to have a significant effect on Bitcoin's future performance. With the global money supply expected to peak at $127 trillion in January 2026, some economists believe Bitcoin will draw an additional $2 trillion in investment. Historically, Bitcoin has captured roughly 10% of the newly produced money supply, positioning it for a potential cycle high of more than $132,000. While some analysts are bullish on Bitcoin's long-term potential, others remain wary. According to Shimon Sipnevich, co-founder and CEO of Ramp Network, reaching $110,000 for Bitcoin appears inevitable, although it is unclear whether it will happen before the end of the year. As we conclude, what could Bitcoin's next steps mean for the financial world? Is the $1 million Bitcoin closer than we think? Please drop your thoughts in the comments below, share this video, and hit your thumbs on the like button. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.